welcome back. This is RClose, and now we'll talk on the topic of design. Design to me is that learning is a both social experience and a contextual experience. So my designs tend to tap into local environments, images that are relevant to the particular student, where they're coming from. The real trick for one-to-many e-learning modules, particularly on LMSs, is that it's hard to make things relevant from a contextual point of view. So images and all of that must be able to do that from a remote place. No, this is not my design, but it's typical of the medical profession and what we might get in a design. But in mental health, someone's in crisis. So the challenge that was hit with me is, could we develop a website where healing started at the very first glance? And that's under the concept that we start learning within 1 second of looking at something. And as a result, we want to take a look at the culture and the environment of the Hamptons, which is out on Long Island, which is surrounded by water. And people, when they tend to have issues, tend to go to the water. It's pretty much a universal concept there. So for this clinic that has already grown 400% in the past couple of years, we wanted to establish a look that really healing took place from the first glance. Let's see if we can do that. This photograph was taken actually as a walk near the clinic. Ironically, it's called Storm Harbor. And we rebranded East End Mental Health with the colors that are still clinical, secure, very much of the healthcare industry, but however, creating a state of calm. And let's see how that worked out. So our challenge is to create a calming effect that rather than the clinical, sterile, white, I'm separate than you, this is something I'd like to step into and be a part of. When we hit welcome, we have a photograph. This photography is mine of the entrance into the facility. Everything moves nice and slowly and gently. You can see here, this actually does work on the cell phone. It's a very calming effect for new patients. Rather than just pull out your ID card and show up. We use warmth in the photography of the clinicians that are there. And you can notice in copy, which I developed for them, rather than saying issues, we refer things to life challenges. We have both the challenge and you see someone taking risks to get over something in the same picture. We look at our approach. Our approach is humanistic, integrated. We had to get those images. But for most part in mental health, people want to get back to where they were. Also, to create a site that has resources to find out more. As you see, everything's gentle. Here's another photograph within the clinic itself of how to contact people. This one on emergency is an interesting image. Again, we're having the water, but we wanted a design where someone is looking down at their own, for instance, phone for help, additional emergency help they can get, and that we're here to support them. So that is the essence of this website. It had really quite a dramatic impact, not only on their clients, but other MDs from the surrounding area actually called them up and commented, the owners on the website. So here again, the cell site, again, everything's very clean. You can see the images of the water and peacefulness. This is totally unlike any other website on Long Island as far as we can see. We did a fair amount of research on that. So the other thing about knowing your community is things should be fun and engaging. This is for like the hardest group you could have. This is an automotive shop in high school, and this particular course done in Captivate is both used as a flipped classroom project where someone can look at this first before going into class, and then also it's used up on the whiteboard in bits and pieces to teach certain modules.
Yo, you want a life with fast cars and big toys? Well, it starts right here. It starts right now. So there's three things things you gotta know. 1. What the parts do. 2. What the parts are. And 3. How to fix it when it broke. So follow the 3 tracks and get cracking.
So you can see we're taking a boring stuff of four-stroke engines, and we're very much putting a teenage spin on it. There's two things to this course. One is the actual learning of how a four-stroke engine works, but part of automotive class is career development. It's mentoring and coaching students to really develop an engineering or a quality point of view rather than just horsing around. So what we did in this course is we put a little story in it, Once Upon a Time. This is a story about the legendary 60s boat called Miss Bardol, which has a 3,000 horsepower fighter engine inside of a boat that literally can fly across the top of water, that was undefeated for a number of years and then rebuilt. Next thing that we did with another high school class was we took a look at the situation of students coming in. It's very chaotic. You have 20 different students coming in. You have 10 different types of power tools. Students don't know what to expect. There's a lot of safety issues, so we created this course called the Physics Shop Safety. All these courses are on RClose.com, and you can take a look at these films. What was interesting about this is the challenge of, could we create a teaching video using simply an iPad and PowerPoint, and you can see these are PowerPoint images on top of iPad photographs. It is a sequence where you see the physics, these arrows and things move, as to what to expect, how a board will move in your hand on a table saw or a sander or something like that. And then you'll see a video clip of how it is done the proper way. When we showed this, the second semester students saw this, approached the equipment totally different. It was very interesting. The way they stood, the way they were prepared to face the equipment from safety point of views was quite dramatically different. The other thing, this is also a case of using flipped classroom, and in the classroom, each step of building a table, for instance, they progress into a different tool. So even though they've seen the whole thing in as homework, we show each particular tool and the physics of that particular tool when they get introduced to it that day. So again, this is a dual use of reusable learning objects. In a collegiate level, again, we can take a look at vetting information, but what we want to do is use images that, rather than just a white background with talking heads, we'll use eating pizza, we'll use collegiate experiences that are relevant, that make them challenge a little bit of what they're doing right then and there. So we're trying to get the material to move and integrate into their life. So that is, from a design point of view, kind of my approach. My approach, again, is really to get the material to integrate as close to what their experience of life is about, and thereby making the information as sticky as possible.